Getting set for the restart here at Talladega. 20 cars have come on pit road, including the 48 of Jimmie Johnson. Let's listen in.
Jimmy, the 14 and the 39 both are talking about staying back there, so there'll be some good ones that you can hang out with. Yeah, that's it for. We're going to have to be extra patient today, waiting. It's like a lot of guys are going to arrive right now.
Jimmie will restart back in 30th position, guys. Is he back in harm's way back there, back in the back of the pack?
Well, I think he's where he wants to be. That's why they pitted right there, just getting back there. And, you know, Dale can answer that more than I can. I always like my car being up front because you can stay in front of most of the action that's going to happen. If you're in the back, you're going to have to run through it. I guess you could run through it at a slower speed.
Well, you just have to pay attention. It's not you can just go back there and just not pay attention to what's going on. You really have to drive your race car back there. But it is a safer place. And, you know, eventually these guys are going to wreck. And if you are fortunate enough to miss it, then you've got a lot fewer to pass at the end of the race.
Scattering out 3 wide here at Talladega. Now back to 2 lanes. Kurt Busch has led the last 7 laps. Here comes Carl Edwards. Remember the last time Carl Edwards led a lap coming out of turn 4 at Talladega? Didn't end up real well. Didn't end up on all 4 wheels as he was headed for the checkered flag.
And all he's looking for this lap is those 5 bonus points.
Coming down. By the way, the 98 and 87, both drivers checked out and released to be okay at the Care Center. Edwards leads the lap, and here comes David Reutimann, the 00 on the high side. Brian Vickers back there just working his way up on an outside draft right in front of the 7 car.
You know, we really haven't seen here with this particular car that the middle was a great place to be, but it seems to be coming back. Maybe the speeds have gotten slower, and that's going to allow them, as you can see, David Reutimann and Greg Biffle jump out in front here. They were really in that middle part of the draft.
You saw Biffle back out. If you just joined our coverage, NASCAR told the drivers in a drivers meeting this morning they want to see daylight between the cars in the corners. You cannot bump draft and stay hooked up in the corners. They were concerned about safety.
Yeah, one thing that the drivers have figured out the last couple of times here, we see them go 3 and 4 wide getting into turn 1, is that if you can put your front bumper on the guy in front of you, 2 cars can just basically hook up exactly as one and take off like a rocket ship if they can do it all the way around the track. And that means through the corners, all the way around the racetrack. Well, NASCAR has said you can't do it in the corners. You can only touch each other on the straightaway. Like we see Brian Vickers right here. Now he's going for the gap in the middle.
Right in the middle behind the 2 car of Kurt Busch. 3 lines of rocket ships. Reutimann up high trying to lead that draft with Biffle behind him.
Now we see some cars now that are touching all the way through the corner. We see Greg Biffle and Reutimann and Joey Logano all touching through the corner.
And Mike Helton told me that they told the drivers that they weren't going to give them any warning, but he said that after talking about it after the drivers meeting, they may give these guys a warning one time. The next time is going to be a pass-through penalty.
David Reutimann led that time by. Let's check in where Jamie is caught up with Joe Nemechek.
And Joe Nemechek and Paul Menard both are out here released and okay. What did you see happen out there, Joe?
I think Paul blew a left rear tire or something happened there, and I was just a little bit on the outside of him. I saw him wiggle. The next thing you know, I'm just along for the ride, just trying to bide our time. Four laps in the race, and got a tore up race car. Really disappointing. We were going to try and run this whole race and have a good finish, and just wasn't meant to be.
Glad you're okay, Joe. Paul, I know you had a little bit of strategy work, and you were actually dropping back when that happened.
Well, the first lap, I was on it pretty good just to see what the car had, and it sucked up really good Friday draft practice. It sucked up really good the first lap, and then I just basically bailed on the draft and started trying to get signal file in the back, and I think a left rear just blew out. Something popped going into 1. Car wiggled, kind of corrected, and then went straight in the fence. And guys busted their butt in this car. It was a fast car, and it's pretty much destroyed right now.
Paul Menard, glad you're okay. He finished 2nd here, and his day is done early today, guys.
Thank you, Jamie. And that caution flag, although bad luck for those 2 guys, really big for the 9 car of Kasey Kahne.
Yeah, it was a huge break for Kasey Kahne because he had lost the draft completely on that initial start by having to start in the rear after changing that engine, Dave.
Yeah, we still got a little bit of a mystery going on here. I talked to Kenny Francis briefly under that caution. I said, do you have a problem? He said, I'd rather not say. So right now he'd rather not say. The problem for drafting occurred on lap number 1 when he lost all the position that he was at the back of the field, but he lost the draft completely on lap 1, and right now it looks like he's going backwards again. So definitely something amiss in that 9. They thought it was going to be better because the motor that they put in the car was originally going to be in the 19 car of Elliott Sadler, and as you guys know, that became a Ford this weekend.
Exactly, Dave. And right back there near where Casey Kane and Sadler are running, here's Dale Earnhardt Jr. being shown in 20th and now moving to 19th position.
And we're watching the speeds right here from Dale Earnhardt Jr. I'm watching his throttle trace also. I saw him actually ease off the throttle a little bit on the back straightaway. Just found him a nice place to run right here in the middle.
I think that what these guys were told by NASCAR, we're seeing a lot of this up here right now, that, be easy. I think if these guys are going to chance any of this, it's going to come later in the race. We're seeing a lot more distance in between these guys than what we normally would at this point in time of the race.
That pack right there is 26 race cars deep, and you saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. right in the middle of that pack. You see Sam Hornish moving to the outside line. The 00, David Rudiman, is the leader.
Now you can see there's a gap right there, and then another group with Jimmy Johnson and a lot of the chasers back there.
There's the separation NASCAR wanted to see in the corners. Didn't want to see him hooked up nose to tail bump drafting because of the concern on someone getting out of shape.
There's a little bump draft from Casey Mears.
Yeah, they're approaching a place right here too that even though NASCAR didn't say that, these guys know that tri-oval is a very dangerous point to be bump drafting also. So they're probably pretty much trying to stay away from each other's bumper through that part of the corner or through that part of the racetrack also.
Back in April, we had 57 lead changes among 25 drivers. We've already had 6 lead changes among 4 different drivers, and a couple of guys making their way toward the front includes the 83 car of Brian Vickers. Dave.
And Doc, just to add one more perspective on this discussion of how NASCAR might judge the drafting out there, Ryan Pemberton told me this morning, of course, we're going to watch and see how the race goes, try to stay out of the wrecks, but we also want to see how NASCAR calls things. Well, if nobody pushes the envelope early, how are they going to know how NASCAR might call it? And what are they going to do at the end of the race? Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to have to do today. That late decision by NASCAR to tell these drivers that they can't touch each other through the corners, it changed the plan for a lot of drivers. So they're going to have to test it.
You heard Denny Hamlin say he was absolutely planning on hooking up in a 2-car draft and pushing someone all day. That totally changed his strategy. 16 laps in here at Talladega. Back after this message and a word from our ABC stations.